presents the Heavyweight Boxing Championship of the world. I haven't seen a crowd whipped into such a frenzy since Jason vs. Predator. Hold on, I'm getting word that both competitors have just entered the ring. In the red corner, hailing from New Orleans, weighing in at 175 pounds, the returning champion, the chillest and the illest, the Frozen Chosen, the commander of cool. Make some noise for MC Popsicle! And in the blue corner, hailing all the way from Texas, weighing in at 275 pounds, the terror of Texas, the king of killers, an actual murderer. Give it up for Leatherface!
Hello, party people. What up, party people? It's your boy, the Neon Nectarine MC Popsicle! And today, we are talking about Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. It was a long-awaited sequel. It came out in 1986, and the star of it is Bill Johnson. He played Leatherface, and we're actually gonna talk to him today. I'm so excited. Check out the video. Hello, Mr. Bill. How you doing?
Well, Josh, hi. What a pleasant surprise, you showing up on my screen out of the clear blue. How lovely.
How you doing today?
Doing real good. Thank you very much. I'm really glad to be able to have a chance to have a conversation with you and your fans, and looking forward to our chatting it up.
Me too. I'm super excited. So what we normally do first thing is talk about what your favorite movie of all time that you're not in is.
It changes.
Me too.
It changes. And also it depends on what kind of a mood I'm in, what kind of a mood a movie. Like for a long time, the Bourne franchise was, I couldn't watch that enough. And then I moved on to something else, I think. I started moving on to independent gems like Crazy People. And
What's Crazy People? What's it about?
Dudley Moore is Madison Avenue advertising executive who just kind of goes off the deep end, and they put him in an insane asylum, tucked away, and he teaches everybody there in the day room how to write ad copy. He starts making commercials, and they're super fabulously popular, and they're bizarre commercials. So it's how it happened, and the cast is charming, absolutely charming performances. There's my wife Morgan has found a lot of these little gems, and I've been really enjoying them a great deal.
What's something that you've seen lately that you're really liking a lot?
I'll tell you something. Ernest Saves Christmas.
I love that movie.
He is so brilliant at humor.
I agree.
Incredibly humorous, and he dug Shakespeare the most,
Huh.
Oh yeah, but all his intonations, especially when he's the dowager, I need him to look at my will. Since I walked from the airport, I'll be dead soon.
He's funny. I always
God, yeah, yes.
Ever since I was a kid. He's so good. I love Ernest Goes to Camp. Some of them got a little, Ernest Goes to Jail, that was really good. Some of them were a little shaky, but those were all commercials when they started. It was just local commercials. That was where that character came from.
I saw him here in Austin on a number of local commercials for, the local weather station. He'd be up on a ladder at the edge of a roof, and the camera would be on the top of the roof looking down at him, and he'd go, "Hey, Vert, did you hear about XYZ? Yeah." And he, and then later on, saw him in his movies. That was kind of a kick. And then in Toy Story, he's pretty great.
Blinky Dog.
Yeah. And his appearances on The Simpsons, I really enjoyed a great deal.
I didn't know he was in that.
His voice as a voice character. Yeah.
Wow.
He was some kind of a mountain folk kind of guy who was just a little, or maybe he was, he was a carnival person.
Oh.
So there, so there's a bit of sleight of hand going on there. And on Roseanne, his appearances on Roseanne.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's been around. He has a lot of friends. A lot of his friends are in his movies. They keep showing up,
Jed Clampett. He was Jed Clampett in that Beverly Hillbillies movie. Did you ever see that?
Oh, I missed that. Yeah, because I remember Buddy Ebsen with such, great fondness because he was so perfect.
Mm-hmm. He did good. Jim Varney did really good in it. You would like it, I bet. It's funny.
I bet I will. Yeah, he's excellent. He has such a sense of humor. And that's one of the great things about the Beverly Hillbillies. There was good humor in there. And Buddy Ebsen did not step too heavily on it, which was a sign of a pro.
Yeah, that's hard. That's hard with actors and entertainers and stuff like that, because I do live shows and I work with people sometimes, and there's that delicate balance you always have to walk between. It's kind of like, you first. No, you first. Like, you always have to make sure everybody's getting along and doing good,
Yes, yes, that's right. Scout leader, den leader, that sort of thing. Leadership.
So how did you get into acting in the first place? Was that something that you had always wanted to do, or did that just kind of happen, or what happened?
As a boomer, post-World War II, in a hard-scrabble, blue-collar family on the outskirts of economic collapse. The only thing I had was hope. Somehow I hoped I would get out of school before going to jail.
Amen.
Or the grave. So I tried to scoot out, and I signed up for I asked my pals, "What's an easy class?" "Oh, take that voice class. That's easy." I said, "Good." I took it, and the speech teacher was this genius from the left field. He was probably a beatnik at some point in his life. I think he was educated in Boston. And this would have been 60s. Yeah, so that would have been right. Beat generation for him. And he read to us. He read to us from Dickens and Shakespeare, and he would act it out. And then he would tell us what stuff meant, and our minds would get blown every single class. And I thought, hey, are we out? And so I graduated, and I applied for a scholarship in Texas. Well, I had a lot of colleges, and I got one from Texas, and I went there, and I was in their acting program in Lon Morris College in Jacksonville, Texas. And that was just a natural stepping stone to go to UT, where I got a Bachelor of Fine Arts in performing.
Oh, wow.
So with that little baby, I've been able to buy a cup of coffee at whatever it costs. So But it was a great experience going through to procuring that bizarre sort of documentation, which I think prepared me later, certainly for like the movies, because of my directing classes, because I started to understand how the stories were put together. And it's not always the actor, The actor just has to do their little brick in the wall part, and the director brings in, arranging the wall that the playwright brought in.
Right.
And they built a special wonder wall for the times that they lived in, and it's up to the director to determine what that intention was, how it applies to today, and translate that into understandable theater for the folk coming in nowadays.
Right. Yeah. How did you, like, what happened to lead to you getting Leatherface? Like, how did that happen?
That was a standard audition process.
Really?
Yeah. Wait a minute. Why should that sound odd?
Well, I feel like in that position, that first movie was so huge that I wasn't sure exactly how they would cast something like that, because it was just a monster movie, no pun intended. So I didn't know if like they were just gonna send stuff out like, here, we like you, or if they would just let just anybody come in, because I felt like if they did that, there would have been like, thousands of people trying to get that part, it seems like.
There were thousands of people, but it was more organized. When Toby did the first movie, he was a student and he was doing flyers tacked up in the local restaurants kind of thing that goes on here in Austin still today. But nowadays, when he was with Canon Films, they were a full-fledged, big butt, wide suspended studios. They were middling in terms of their money, and it was a $5 million budget in '86, which that's $86. That bought a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So they're able to snag Dennis. That was more smart than who could ever have thought he would be so great at that. But he's a tortured soul. He has played tortured souls from the very beginning, ever since East of Eden, and these tortured souls are tortured to giving in or going the other way and destroying everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a great actor. What was your audition like? What did they want you to do? Like, here, choke this guy.
Yeah, really. I had not seen the film, Toby's film, until like 2 days before I went to do the audition. And wow. I knew right away that I was going to be reading for Leatherface. Like, I had been told that. And I thought, oh yeah, sure. I'm going to do that for sure. And I thought, there's no copying this guy. There's no jumping off from the last word he said. Though, I didn't watch all of it because I was really frightening. That was a very frightening, it still is, disturbing film. It's just like a psy-ops. It's like a horror movie on the top, and below, subconsciously, it's a real horror movie.
Yeah, because that can really happen. I mean,
yeah. Again. Sorry, that sounded a little too gleeful. So at any rate, let me just get down to it. Came in the audition room, the auditors were there, and there was no dialogue for this character. And they said, here's your action, they gave me a board about, I don't know, 18, 19 inches long, piece like a 6 by 3/4 inch. Go intimidate that actress. That's a saw.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, I was successful. And they said, let's go see Toby. The next one was, but they said that, yeah, we saw the playwright next, Kit Carson. We did an audition call back for him, and he went, yeah, let's take it in front of Toby. And then Toby, yeah. He was, remember, I don't know if you saw the film Savior of the Universe, Flash Gordon.
Yes, I did a review of that movie. I love that movie.
Great movie. Uncle Eric von Sydow as Ming the Merciless.
Yes.
Right. He's just taking his power potion and he's tightening up his gauntlets to go have some super sex with whoever the actress is at that time.
Right.
And the power was coming off of him like a Tesla coil from The Prestige, you know.
I love that movie too. That's a good
brilliant movie. Yeah, Jackman, I liked him in that a great deal.
Yeah.
And Christian Bale, my word, he could be pretty subtle for a change, rather deeply. I thought was lovely. Oh God, I digressed. Where are we?
Talking about
intimidate the girl, and then get to Toby. And so it was me and Caroline in the room together with Toby. So as far as Ming the Merciless, all that energy coming off him, the room we were waiting in with who was it, Kit and Pat Orseth and probably some execs from the studio. And Toby came in, it was like Ming the Merciless coming in, man. It was, dimensions started shifting, colors started forming in the air. I mean, it was a lot of energy coming in that room. And I did one scene for him. He got it. Yeah, okay, good. And then he ran Caroline about 20 takes. And of course, Caroline kept saying, you want to see it again? You want to see it again? And he goes, huh? And so after that, we said, hey, you're in. Sign up the papers and go report for work. So that was about the size of that one.
What was the movie like? How was it shooting?
There's a lot of words to describe that are been used before in movies of this kind of circumstance. Oh, let me set it up for you. Canon Films signs contract with Toby for a 3-picture deal. One of those 3 gotta be sequel to Chainsaw 1. He didn't want to do it, and I don't blame him. You don't, you know.
Really?
Yeah. Artistically speaking, yes. Financially speaking, what is he waiting for already? This is a franchise that ought to run 9 or 10 sequels if it's handled right. Look at Freddy, the house Freddy built, etc. So, but he didn't want to do another one, and because how you gonna do another Michelangelo's David, or, you know, they could do it, but they weren't contracted necessarily. They had it in them. I really don't know the details of Michelangelo's contracts, but I would assume he would not do a 3 sculpture deal. One of them you gotta do the Pieta again. No. So
yeah,
like lightning in a bottle like that. There are so many things that have to go right for a movie to be great. So that's hard to catch.
Yeah. Yes, it is. And he was able to do it twice. I think that's a testament to not luck.
Mm-hmm.
I would say if it's luck involved, he makes it.
Right.
And that, like most of the directors, they make it. They make their fate. Like Reddington said, "I make my own fate." So,
right.
And so he put it through. He knew what he wanted. I think the reason others have not really hit the dead center of that world quite like 1 and 2 did is because it's Toby's world, and who wants to live in that? And that's essentially where the director lives while he's directing it.
Right.
That's what he was doing, and that's how we knew what to do. He was there showing us how to do it by just his way of being. And then he would, like for Leatherface, he talked to me off camera. He would be Leatherface's thoughts, which is perfect. I mean, most actors would go, "Oh, how dare that!" Get out of my mind, director. I'm an artist. Well, I was willing to be a super puppet because I was clueless. Well, I wasn't exactly clueless, but since there wasn't any dialogue, and that had been my mainstay for finding out what was going on in a play after all those years of study, the pressure was on. 2 films had been done, Life Force and Invaders. I think it was Return to Invaders from Mars. Is a redo.
About those.
Excuse me. And then the last film to be done would be this one, the Chainsaw 2. And here was the ticking time bomb. Canon had signed contracts with movie theaters that the film would be presented on X date.
Oh, no.
Yes. The horror. The absolute horror. And Toby had been 20 weeks over on the previous movie.
Uh-oh. That's hard.
That's like he did 2 extra movies more in time. Because usually it's like around 10 weeks, And I think that's what Canon had budgeted for us, because we stopped just a little bit after 10 weeks, 10 weeks and a day or 2. They just pulled the plug, stopped it on the 4th of July. So there was pressure. Oh, baby, there was pressure because the penalties were going to be so bad for the producing company, which you can't blame them. They had taken the chance, so they kept putting pressure on Toby. They tried to fire him twice.
That's stupid. It takes me off.
If it's what some folks would call a smart money move.
Yeah, well, it's not smart to mess with the guy that could make you like millions and millions of dollars. Like, he's already proven himself. Like, let the guy work, It takes me off. Ugh.
Toby was sort of, I think, in the eyes of anyone. I mean, think of it like a casino.
Mm-hmm.
Rules change.
Right.
Looks the same, kind of
Right.
do the same thing, but the penalties are horrible and the rules are so much more stringent.
Mm-hmm.
So the artistic part was, I think, what Toby was really interested in. Kit, he wrote a screenplay that was really faboo. I mean, he wrote a play in dialect, a horror film in dialect that was just lovely. Yeah. And it's classic too. Boy meets girl. The whole thing. The basic love story.
I was walking down the street yesterday, and I wasn't looking where I was going, and this car like almost hit me, and then I looked up, and they're what are those things that hang on the rear view mirror that smell good? What are those called?
Oh, those little pine tree scents.
but
Yeah.
it was Leatherface, and I was like, haha, that's cool. Yeah, I saw it yesterday, and I was like, that's really neat. It's crazy
Probably
how-
smells like chainsaw oil, sweat, dry blood, and old screams.
Yeah, I wonder what that would smell like. What?
Yeah, I am curious. Perhaps it's chloroform.
Just go to sleep. It's like those people that have dream catchers in their car, and I'm like, no, please, that's not a good idea. You should
Yeah.
while
Yeah,
you drive.
that'll keep your soul in the car, you know.
Right. So during, like, what was your read on this character? Because I felt like you did a very good job of giving that character humanity, and that could have been a really hard thing to do. So what did you picture this guy as? Like, what was his life before? Like, because they hadn't really covered that, but I would imagine as an actor, you would have to, think about that. Like, who was he? Like, what was he like before? That type of stuff. Like, how do you picture him?
Well, one of the things about play directing, you find that while reading plays from the beginning of any written play to the present that you're living in, you find out that the basic building blocks of plays are pretty much the same. Family and the 1,000 natural shocks that flesh is heir to. So it's about the pain and the pleasure of family.
Mm-hmm.
And all the plays, either the family blood kin or extended family or a newly, I claim you as my family. It's family.
Mm-hmm.
So I just looked at it like kids in the neighborhood,
Right.
Leatherface didn't get out that much, but he heard the girl on the radio and he's seen her, and his brain exploded. He had a super crush. And so the overall structure, to jump to that up a level, is the story of the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Oh.
Yeah, the bell ringer being, and this one was particularly from a film I'd seen by Charles Laughton playing the Hunchback.
About when was that? Was that like back in the day? Like a long time ago?
Oh, that movie? Yeah, that was probably like the time of Dickens, something like that.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Because, that would be about right. He was hanging out in the bells of Notre Dame in Paris. So that would be about right, I guess. Yeah.
That's a good connection. I never thought of that, but that makes so much sense.
Yeah, Esmeralda, he protected her,
Mm-hmm.
And he did not, Bubba did not physically hurt her, but he did betray her. He was stuck. The family says kill her, and no,
Right.
stop it.
Yeah, the way you played him, it seemed like he wasn't a bad person. It's like he kind of was influenced to be the way that he was. Like he
was raised wrong. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
He was told everything wrong. The soy, not wrong in the sense of the Sawyers were concerned, but in terms of living in harmony with your community.
Right.
Yeah.
Not people.
Not so good for that. Yeah.
That's really interesting. What was it like working with Dennis Hopper?
Dennis, not for nothing, is a star. Let me say that. There ain't much that is ordinary that they bring to the table when they're when they're working. I don't know what his life is like off set, but
Wouldn't it be shocking if he was completely normal? That would blow my mind if he was just completely average Joe outside of the movies. Could be. I don't read him that way though.
no, he's wired a little differently, meaning that the way he uses his nervous system is a little different than most people. But as an artist, he seems perfectly normal to me.
Right.
As an artist, and he has tremendous energy and focus and an ease that he blends together so that he's kind of in full inspirational mode, yet relaxed and pliable and expressive within the proper parameters of the job description of the character he's playing.
Mm-hmm.
If you think of a character personality as a job description, it's a little easier to work with.
Right.
And then you can call all that's my hat. And you can change hats, as we do naturally, like you got your interview hat on, and you may wear that as a DJ. But if you're going to church, you probably don't wear that. I mean, if you're a church-going type in places where men aren't allowed to wear hat wear inside, and or any kind of building, etc. So hats and job descriptions.
Right. So he could switch on and switch off just that easily. Was he like his character when he wasn't in the movie, or was he kind of like the same? Would you think he would be like a what's it called, like a method actor, or was he just normal and then he switched on over to the character during the movie when they were shooting, or was he just in character the whole time?
I got lost on the trail back there a little ways. I'm sorry to say, Josh. Maybe fewer pronouns and more nouns, and help me keep track of who the he and they are.
Oh, with Dennis Hopper, was he much different, like before a take, or was he about the same as far as you could tell? Like, was he in character the whole time, or was he different?
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. No, he didn't bury himself in a role like he was always Rambo no matter what. No, he was always ready to do a take. He was ready to work. He had all his concentration. He was ready in the moment, had his lines perfectly. And I got a story about his lines. It was like early in the morning. The sun was just starting to come up, so we were shutting down shooting for the night, and it was Dennis, me, and Bill Moseley to my right in the makeup chairs in the makeup trailer, and they were taking the makeup off us, and Bill was still, he was still boiling from the set. You know how you take a kettle off the boil and it's still boiling when you carry the kettle away? Well, that was him. He was still cooking like crazy. And he started riffing in his chair because we both wanted to make Dennis laugh, to find out more about him. So Bill was talking about roles he had done that was similar to this in Leatherface, and because he played Quilt Face at one time. And then he started applying the most horrible conditions that would take him to the next lower designation face, like if he was a quilt face, charcoal face, etc. And Dennis was laughing a lot, and I asked him about Easy Rider, why he decided to make that film. And I think he may have taken it as that I was trying to why did you bother doing that movie, rather than I'm amazed that you were associated with a great movie too. And how did that come about? Perhaps the way I should have worded it, but he said, hey, I wanted to direct a film. Okay. So he's a little touchy. So I was going to thought I would throw him for a loop. So in the middle of him laughing his head off at Bill Moseley's humor, I hit him with a line of his from Easy Rider when he was in jail with Peter Fonda. They had just been busted in Louisiana. And I said, "Hey, man, he's Captain America and I'm Billy." And he jumped in without missing a beat from laughing and finished the line from 30 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. I thought that's a brilliant artistic mind. Brilliant.
I can tell he's a great actor.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Yes.
also, another thing I wanted to ask about, like, what was your costume situation like? Like, what was your costume? How did it feel? And was it easy to use and wear and stuff like that? Because I love the mask and all that kind of stuff.
Now, wardrobe, your costume was a business suit and cowboy boots. I used to have a boutonniere in my pocket, actually pinned onto the lapel, a fake one. You changed it, and I think some of the production stills have the red carnation there. And then they worked with a red handkerchief, and then they just scrapped any kind of color there. I liked it. It was hot, though. It was really hot in the underground part of the movie because it was in a unair conditioned space with about 1 trillion light bulbs on all the time. It was over 100 degrees in there.
Wow.
And, yeah, we were all sweating like crazy. It was just like a long Quonset hut steel room that used to be the Austin American Statement newspaper press room, where they had the giant rolls of newsprint and printing off, spinning them out and printing those newspapers. So it was full of 40, 50 years of ink everywhere, and inhaling that as well. But it had access to outside, also to the heat from outside, for it had no insulation. It was just a big metal room, sort of like the box from Cool Hand Luke.
Ooh, good grief.
And there were 2 side doors, fortunately, to the room we were mostly in doing the photography. And they had rented a mobile 40-ton air conditioning unit with an exhaust tube of the cold air about 3 feet across, 3 or 4 feet across in diameter. And they just back that in, crank it up, and blow a trillion cubic meters of cold air in there for a few minutes to try to bring the temp down, and so we wouldn't lose the patient. And then they'd have the cameras up, and then we close the doors and do it just one more time.
How were you actually fighting in the fight scenes, or did they have a stunt person doing that?
Bob Elmore was a stunt double, one of them. Let's see. We all had stunt doubles. Tom Morga, excuse me. Good Lord. The one for Bill was a tremendous athlete. His name will come to me in a minute. I have it in there, but it's not kind of showing itself yet. And Beth, I've forgotten Beth's last name. She was a stunt double for Caroline. And Tom was a stunt double for Luke. Not Luke, good Lord. Perry. Excuse me. Mr. Perryman, who played LG. Tom Morgan did some stunt work for him, and for Leatherface too, a little bit, but it was mostly Bob. It was pretty dangerous working with a live chainsaw, which had to be done at some points.
Yeah. That's
And
why
yeah,
a lot
Gunnar
of that-
Hansen they didn't have a stunt double, and Gunnar Hansen had almost gotten gouged twice by accident.
Ugh.
You know, by total accident, not because of anybody was screwing around or bad safety rules. There was just serendipity in the air as well. So I did not mess with the saw. My job was to do the roll and not get hurt.
Yeah.
Bob got hurt because he fell out of the pickup truck that was doing the in the opening part that was sawing the kids in the Mercedes.
Yeah.
And Leatherface had not been wired safely enough into the back of the truck where they wouldn't fall out. So that happened. So Bob was the guy doing that, and he got injured. And and Tom Morga then filled in for Bob, and Tom Morga was thrown out of the truck too.
Wow.
Then the stunt coordinator John Moyo came to me and asked me, with the entire stunt cast there too, and Bob with his arm wrapped in this giant clear plastic garbage bag full of ice and taped up like you see on the football games. And he was asking me if I'd go ahead and do some scene work with the saw and it would be safe. And I didn't trust him whatsoever.
I bet not. Oh.
I had heard about how harsh and corporeal he is with his stunt people. And I thought it was pretty low class to try to shame me into it, bringing all his people in. You know, I could understand Bob, but not all the others. And plus, it didn't make any sense, because if I get hurt, then it's totally going to be in trouble. I got hurt for a week. I caught pneumonia. Toby told me that it was the Bob stunt mask had been stolen and he was using mine. And Toby had told me later at a convention that Bob had the flu and that I had probably caught it from the mask. I don't know if that's true or not, but bummer if it had been. But I was in bed for a week, taking meds every 2 hours around the clock until I could get back. So Bob kind of filled in for one of the scenes I had been slated to perform. And
yeah. I figured it was dangerous. I mean, just the nature of something called Texas Chainsaw Massacre sounds pretty dangerous.
The tension was high on the set because of the pressure, time pressure, to get the film. Toby was editing on the lot. He would leave the set and go on to another part of the lot and go to an editing room they had set up, and he would be editing there. I believe he also said there would be no like editor's cut, because he said, I cut the movie I want, and that's it. And I say, well, yeah, look, it works pretty good for everybody so far.
Yeah. I figured y'all were like on thin ice with some of that stuff. Some of that stuff was like, oh my gosh, like that was crazy. I have a question.
Excuse me.
So I'm an actor. I've been in a couple TV shows and movies and stuff like that. And a lot of the people that watch this are actors. And for newer actors, what advice would you give to someone that's trying to get into the industry or new?
I have several pieces of his advice, unquote. One, don't do it. If you think that there's a possibility even you're getting the low end of the money of the people you see on the big screen, you are not correct. You do have a chance, but it is so slim unless you go fight where they're giving out the roles that do that sort of thing. You got to be prepared for a long haul. Some of the best actors I knew that I worked with in this town as an actor went to Hollywood, and it took them 10 years.
And that's about it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Mr. Bill, for being on the show. That was part 1. There's going to be part 2, and I'll be releasing it on my brand new podcast channel. It's not out yet, but it's going to be out really soon, so keep in touch and I'll let you know what's happening with that. Also, shout out to Designs by Galarza. They made this for me. Please follow them if you want some custom stuff that's really, really amazing. Also, check out the work from our other sponsors. Shout out to my brand new sponsor, Righteous Felon Craft Jerky. They make amazing jerky. Go follow them. Follow them right now. Wait, one more thing. If you like the shirt that I'm wearing, make sure to go to getonboardman.com and order a shirt. They have all kinds of amazing wearable art. Every shirt is absolutely incredible. Wait, 2 more things. Make sure to follow the Toy Stash on Instagram. They specialize in vintage toys. So if there was any toy you had when you were little and you can't find it, they probably have a brand new version of it that you can get. So make sure to follow them. And make sure to follow Designs by Galarza. They made that cool custom popsicle hat that I was wearing a second ago. And they can make you your own custom merchandise, so make sure to hit them up. Also, shout out to my shoe sponsor, Solsfing. They make amazing future sneakers that are just bananas. Please follow them on Instagram. You will love their selection. Also, if you like the hat I was wearing in this episode, it was given to me by the Old Hat Shop on Instagram. Hit them up. They specialize in vintage hats. You can have a brand new hat from the 90s. And if you're thinking, hey, I want those sunglasses, and I want the sunglasses you wear in your movie Popsicle World, make sure to hit up Filthy Shades. Also, if you live on the Gulf Coast and need help with your pool or hot tub, hit up Emerald Coast Pools. They can fix everything and get you swimming again before you can say Baba Booey.